So what are the challenges that most organisations face in the migration to ISO 20022? We obviously help businesses do this, and we see a number of common challenges. Normally they're around, have they got the data in the first place to be able to add into the message? And then it's getting the format of these messages correct. So we talk about ISO 20022 as though it is one thing. It's not. It's a framework, if you like, for messaging. Every bank implements that framework in a different way. Okay, so actually you have to know how each bank implements it, and they will implement it in a different way for different payment types, whether it's domestic, cross-border, etc. So if you have multiple banks, the problem just compounds. And so a lot of what needs to be done is making sure the data is in the right format depending on the particular bank or banks that you're dealing with, and the payments, the types of payments that you're making through those banks and which countries you're making them in. And then making sure that the right data is in those payment messages. Some of that will be available in back office systems within the organisation already. Some of it won't, and will need to be enriched. And again, that enrichment of data is something that we do, that Access Pay does. The taking of data from back office systems in whatever format it might be, and then transforming it into the format required by the receiving bank, again, is something that we do. So transformation, enrichment, and then most importantly, actually understanding the format that is required by the bank or banks that you are dealing with are the common issues that we see. Why does every bank has its own implementation of an ISO 20022 format? So the issue is that every bank has different IT systems, different IT setups. So to give you an example, there are multiple places in an ISO 20022 message where you can put an address, or you can put a purpose of payment, or you can put a BIC, or you can put an IBAN, if you see what I mean. So, or a service level tag, which tells you how urgent the payment is and things like this. So, and what each bank has, it has its own setup for example, how it deals with things like money laundering or sanction screening, or what systems need to be involved for a domestic payment versus an international payment, or what different systems are involved for billing, etc. So every bank is set up in a different way, if you like, and has to look at different data within that structure in a different way because of their own system requirements. So it might be that one bank can use the data in one placeholder for its anti-money laundering, but another bank can't, because another system in that bank has to use that data to do something different. And then the other complexity is that every bank has its own way of dealing with the relevant regulations, in terms of money laundering, financial crime, compliance, etc. So they all look at things differently, treat things differently. And that's why ISO 20022 is not one thing. It is actually a myriad of different implementations of a framework by every single bank differently. What happens if a CHAPS payment is not compliant with the new ISO 20022 regulations by November 24? The short answer is it's going to fail, right? So now, what that means in reality is you're going to get a phone call from your bank, okay? Because they're not going to be able to send that payment instruction on to the Bank of England, who run the CHAPS infrastructure. And the bank will phone you up and ask you for the missing data, whether that's a purpose of payment code or an address or whatever it is. They're going to phone you up and ask you for that data. Once they've got that data, they will add it to the payment and then send the payment on its way. So it's really, really important, if you actually want payments to continue going on time and then to be no delays and no issues, that you add this extra data to your CHAPS payments before November 24.